Hello, and welcome back to New You Wow Going Places podcast, where we help women achieve epic breakthroughs and celebrate our connections in the community. Today, we are honored to have as guest Corhinn Brunot, the founder and CEO of the CCWC Network Corporation, a web design and branding company. She is also the founder and editor-in-chief of CREATIV Magazine, an online magazine highlighting artists and writers around the world. For the past 10 years, Corhinn has created events that have had a huge impact on her community. And she's been featured in the Palm Beach Post, Voyage Miami, Shout Out Miami, and most recently, the Marquis Who's Who in America for individuals demonstrating outstanding achievement in their respective fields. Corhinn, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. You know, we always like to get things kicked off with a little bit of an icebreaker. So if you could share with our listeners today something about you that isn't well known, a little tidbit.
A little tidbit. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, seriously, like.
No, everyone has the same reaction because
It's like something that people don't know about me. Okay. Anywhere I go, first of all, I love to go and experience new food of different cultures.
Nice.
And my favorite go-to dessert is always something with chocolate in it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It has to be something that chocolate. However, I do not like when you mix chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
You know what I'm saying? Who invented that?
I don't know.
Who told them that was a good idea? Peanut butter and chocolate? I know it's probably some of your listeners like...
You're going to start World War III over this, but...
She doesn't know. It's like, nope. In the Milky Way, I'll go for the Milky Way straight on.
Okay. Got to include chocolate. Very good to know. Now, we're also curious if you could go back in time and share with us one of your fondest childhood memories, something that you really treasure.
Oh, wow. One of my childhood memories that I will always keep with me is the time that my dad we live in Port-au-Prince. But the castle of King Henry is in Cape Haitian. That's mostly, his hometown because he was born in Fort Liberté. Terre-Rouge, sorry. He was born in Terre-Rouge in Haiti.
Okay.
And Terre-Rouge, Cap-Haïtien, Limonade, that's the north.
Okay.
So anything that has to do with the north. So he would go with us to the castle and to visit and stuff. And I think we did that like a couple of times. Most people would take a donkey to actually, go all the way up, but no, we would walk it.
Wow.
We would walk it from the bottom till the top until we get there and then go right back. But the fact that we were all in family, you didn't feel it, But this is that one memory that I know that, especially when we get up there, she would give us historical facts and stuff like that. We would actually look at, because the castle was right there at the border. He would tell us, when the defense, it's a whole history thing, but I'm not going to get into it. That's my memory.
Lovely. How long would it take you, by the way, to do that trek since you were on foot?
I don't remember. I just know that it took us a long time. No, I haven't been there in so long. That's the thing. Child, I was probably the last time I went, I was probably 12.
Oh, wow.
I can say I was probably 12 or 13, which was the last time I went over there. But I knew it took us a long time. If we ask and evaluate how much time, I'm pretty sure we can Google it. But yeah, something that would probably take you at least an hour or two to get up there.
I'm thinking what that says about your father, that he had to be so forward thinking to go against the grain and say everyone else is taking a little bit of a shortcut. We're going to immerse ourselves as a family and spend as much time as it takes. And like you said, that's the memory that comes to you, where it was more effort, but it was worth it because those are the things you hold on to.
Yes,
So that's
absolutely.
beautiful. And my next question is, what would you say influenced your decision to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, definitely my father, because he was an entrepreneur himself.
Nice.
And growing up, I've seen him create a school for, how do you say that? Mechanic engineering.
Oh, wow.
And then he had like 2 other businesses that he did as well with other partners. But the one that actually is still thriving today, even after his passing, is the school.
Amazing.
Yeah, until today, the school still exists in Haiti. So for him, he always, like when he would pick me up from school and our ride from home, he was always tell me, listen, when you get your college degree, it's great to go and work for someone, get the knowledge and everything, but always have your own.
Wonderful.
Have your own. Because that's what makes you you. So for him, he knew that his kids saw what he was doing and would follow into his footsteps. Because for him, he left a legacy. And even if we didn't continue, with what he created, because of course, the school is in Haiti and the situation in Haiti right now is definitely not the best.
Right.
But we would create our own at some point. And I happen to be the eldest.
Ah.
So I'm the one who actually came up with the idea of, creating my own. But the businesses that I have are pure serendipity, the way they happen.
Okay.
Because when I created the CCWC network, it was, okay, so I was living in Maryland, about 8 years there, and then I moved to Florida in 2008. So moving to Florida, I was still, in my 20s, looking for a job, etc., etc. But I've always loved art. So a friend of mine in Maryland told me that his brother had a radio show, and he was looking, for someone to interview, whatever, or a co-host. So I'm like, all right, cool. So you just need someone to keep the conversation going. I'll go.
Never run from an opportunity. Great job. Yeah.
So I went. I had fun. The very first was testing me. I had fun the very first time. And then he said, yo, I love you. Can you just come back the next episode? So I came back the next episode. I said, how about making you my permanent co-host?
Wow. Look at that.
And from there, another radio station heard me, and they like, okay, since the radio show that he was doing, unfortunately, did not last, was about to get canceled, they offered me my own show.
Amazing.
Platform. So the Chit Chat with Corhinn, back in the day, was
Chit Chat with Corhinn.
Jingle and everything, like Chit Chat with Corhinn. Like seriously, no lie.
Lovely.
It's on YouTube if you want to go back. Like type in Chit Chat, it'll come up.
Okay.
And then from there, when I realized, okay, this is when Facebook was, trying to get there and stuff like that, I created a website because my background is information systems. So I was, pretty good at HTML and stuff like that. So I created my own website just to get the stuff out there.
Nice.
I got a show. I'm getting out there. I'm going to get a blog, So I started with that. So the fact that I created mine and I started to meet people, there was a friend of mine who asked me, can I do hers? I'm like, sure. But me trying to be entrepreneurial, because I always jump 2 feet and then ask questions later. My brothers always say that. It's like, you always shoot first and ask questions. I'm like, yes. You shoot first, then ask questions. I told her, I'm going to charge you $10 to do your website.
$10.
$10. Not knowing there are people out there charging hundreds of dollars to create. I'm like, no, I'm going to create yours for $10. And then with the condition, you just tell other people that I did your website. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I did her website. She liked it. Next thing you know, another person is calling me. Next thing you know, another person calling me. So, and head, I'm like, okay, I need a legitimate bank account to put this money in. I just can't take the money like that.
Good for you.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I'll create this CCWC network. And then from there, I even had a women's group called the CCWC Women's Club. And so, it's a long story. But today, the CCWC network is really, my bread and butter.
That's phenomenal. And, I'm so glad that you shared that, because that journey represents, it's like a mighty sequoia standing in the forest. It didn't just pop up like that. It started from a tiny seed.
Yes.
And a lot of what happens in the beginning, that seed, that idea that you had, it's the roots that spread out underground. It's forming a foundation. And then you fast forward many years and you look up and you look at what you've done. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. And also being open to challenge, not thinking, I can't do that. I feel like as women, a lot of times we limit ourselves and we put ourselves in a box and think that's impossible. Or maybe she can do it, not me. But imagine if everyone thought that way, the amazing things that never would have been done.
Exactly.
And looking ahead, what about the beautiful things that are yet coming, that if we stay stuck where we are today, who's to take, what are we going to miss out on? There is history that needs to be made, and it starts with an idea. So kudos to you. That's great.
Thank you. And the whole thing is like, it's not about, this is how much money. If you just focus on perfecting your craft and just making yourself better, the money will come.
There you go.
I mean, I went from charging $10 for a website to now telling people, if you don't have a minimum of $2,500, I can't even talk to you. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because your craft has perfected. Don't get me wrong. There's still people out there still charging $300, $500, but you get what you pay for.
True.
However, in my industry, I'm finding out that people are charging $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 for a website.
Everything is relative.
And it's not like they're using a tool that I don't know. I'm like, we use the same tools, but it's just, what have they perfected and how do I get there?
Absolutely.
Eventually. I'm just halfway through right now.
Yeah. And that is the key, that sometimes we limit ourselves into thinking of what you did yesterday or where we stand right now. But your mindset that you're still growing, there's still more. And so, I always chuckle when I hear that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? A true visionary can't even see it because you realize that there's so much potential that if you just do your grind every day and you stay, as you said, focused, stay in the zone, the money will follow, the prestige follows, everything shows up as a result of what you're doing, not because you're looking at what's coming, but because you have unlimited potential inside of you.
Exactly.
So I think that's great. Now, I want to know if you can tell us a little bit more about what you enjoyed most about working with the international event franchise, Dinner en Blanc. What was that like?
That one? Oh my gosh. It was, how could I put it? For the time being, it was fun. It was an experience. But you definitely have to love doing events in order to be part of something like that. Because when you buy into a franchise, because I was a franchisee at the time, you still have to follow their rules. You can't just come up with your own rules. You still have to follow their rules. But of course, making it what making it what your city is accustomed to. Okay. Even because of course Singapore or the Caribbean, you're not going to have the same methods of business because each culture is different, but at least there are still guidelines that you have to do. What I love with it is at the end, you see your hard work come into fruition.
Nice.
Our very first one, we went out with a bang. It went out with a bang. I mean, went out with a bang. We had a dance group come. We had fire breathers. We had belly dancers. We had, oh my goodness.
That's over the top. That's great.
Singers. We had like a big, to the point that when the president saw us employing all these people, they said, okay, no, we have to come to Palm Beach and see what's going on, because
wow.
So we had to explain to them, listen, our people, our followers, they like entertainment. It's not dinner. If you can't give a dinner with entertainment, it's not going to work. Is you give all this entertainment, and then boom, we had a huge budget for that one. Mm-hmm. Of course, as the years come down, there are people who come back every year.
Right.
And then there are people who, once they have the experience once, okay, I experienced and check next, they don't come back. So you see, in terms of business, you will see that. With the pandemic that came, it put a halt to everything. Mm. Now, in my only business, we would have seen an income go to complete zero.
Look at that.
Because all events stopped.
Right.
Pandemic came through. So I can imagine what kind of hit that business took in 2020. Because imagine they're international. They're in like 75 cities at least. Mm-hmm. I think 80, they went up. And then you can't have your event in 80 cities throughout the whole year.
Yeah, no one anticipated that this would last as long as it has. And, you touch on a very important point, diversification. It's great to have a passion and to get involved with something, but don't put all your eggs in one basket, because there's not a single business owner that would have anticipated 3 years ago we'd be going through this now. Yeah. And the key is diversification, and also being able to pivot, take what you've got and find a way to go beyond the way that you did things yesterday. And the businesses that did so are astounding. I mean, look at Zoom platform and so many other elements that just exploded, because now there was this need for virtual environments that didn't exist before. And just because the need is there, if you can't meet that demand, that can be a big miss too. Mm-hmm. So I think it's great, like you said, that it wasn't your only pursuit, but to know that you had other fish in the sea, as they say. Yeah. And so you're able to still be standing strong. That's beautiful. Now, as far as your business journey goes, and did you have a point? You were going to say something?
No, I was going to say, in terms of, and I love the fact that you made the point with diversifying, because when it comes to business, if everything goes into that one thing and you don't diversify, there's that failure period that you're going to experience, because you cannot be in business and from 0 to 100 you're going to be successful. No, you experience failure throughout your journey until you reach that point where, okay, this is what works, this is what I'm going to focus on to make it explode. So this was actually one of the experiences that I had fun doing it, and I completely don't regret it, but I moved on from it and concentrated on what works.
Beautiful.
Who the world was going to explode like that?
Nobody.
Yeah.
No one saw it coming. And here's the thing, it's beautiful that you make that point. You just have to keep plugging ahead, keep moving, because there's no way to anticipate, especially when you're starting out. You are so full of drive, and you have so much energy, and you have all these great ideas. And unfortunately, some people just don't do well with rejection. They think that first no means that they have to stop altogether. But any big success story went through a lot of no's. And the difference was how they looked at those no's. Yes. They didn't hear stop. They heard not yet. Absolutely. They didn't see this is the end. They realized every no gets me closer to my yes.
Exactly.
And so it's all shifting the way that you look at the things that happen to you. Every day isn't going to be rosy and perfect, but that makes you really appreciate the good ones even more.
Absolutely. I mean, even when you had, I mean, I can take CCWC as an example. I'm telling you, it's good to perfect your craft. I have had clients that have started on board with me and they stop at a certain point. Perhaps, it's something that I did that I needed to perfect, that, and I realized, okay, this wasn't working, or they find somebody better or something like that. Am I gonna cry and just, stand no. I'm like, okay, this didn't work. How do I fix this to make this better so that the next client that I get, I actually know what to offer. So I've learned from these experiences. And it's so funny because in my culture, for some reason, people always have this idea, if they tell you no, you're going to hold a grudge against them. And sometimes I had to explain to him, no, just because you moved on doesn't mean that you can't talk to me anymore. It didn't work out professionally, but if I see you on the streets, I'm still going to say hi. If you still have a question you want to call and talk, I'm still going to answer my phone. It's just that you have to try to disassociate your feelings from business.
Right.
My dad used to say that there's no crying in business.
There you go. Yeah.
There's no emotions in business. So when they say no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to what you're offering. They're saying no to perhaps what they cannot afford. They're saying no to, okay, this doesn't work for them. Like a puzzle, it doesn't fit. To find what fits, Yeah. And then you move on. You take from it, you move on.
In other words, don't take it personal. And, I think that tends to be a challenge for women in business because by nature, we're a bit more emotional. And so it's easy to start questioning, what did I do wrong? Where did I mess up? What did I do? When it could have absolutely nothing to do with you. We don't know every mechanic of what someone is facing in their life, but we tend to project their problems into our space. And so those that can rise above that and powerfully stand in knowing what I have is amazing. And there's someone out there looking for it. And sometimes it's just a matter of timing. And when they're ready for what I'm offering, it's going to manifest. They're going to show up. And the key is to stay ready because you don't want to miss out on an opportunity thinking I'm not ready when really they weren't ready. It's just a larger message that I'm glad you bring it up. In fact, I was wondering, as you look back on your business journey, is there anything you can share as far as any obstacles that you didn't expect, but yet you successfully overcame them?
I mean, these are probably the strongest obstacles. The world of technology is constantly changing. I mean, the perfect example how social media used to be to what social media is now.
Right.
Media went from, for example, Facebook being just a platform for people to connect with their friends and family to now being a business-oriented platform, point blank, period. We just want your money, This world is constantly changing, so you have to change with it. And the obstacles that I have gotten along the way is perhaps, and this is what I've learned from, overcoming that no, or overcoming a client that has been with you for so long and then them deciding to leave you. Or, and I had to learn not to take it personally. The very first time I think that happened to me, I fussed for a whole week. I'm like, I can't believe she did this to me after all of that work. And then after I said, I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to get a new one tomorrow. Why are you being,
There you go.
Acting this way? Some will, some won't. So what next? Yeah, for real. That became my motto. SWSWSWN. So when I adopted this and I realized, okay, it's really not you. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the work. They're saying no to perhaps what they can't afford, or they're saying no to, because even, when the pandemic hit, I had a who she does events. And immediately she had to tell me, I'm sorry, I can no longer pay you anymore. I have, I have to cut our contract short. And I had to step back and I'm like, I understand. I get it. But she was open enough to tell me. Some of them won't tell you what's going on in their life.
There you go. There you go.
Know, they just wanted to stop the contract. They stopped the contract point blank, period. But you can't cry about it. Certain circumstances going on in somebody's life, you're not in their shoes. You will not understand. You just accept it for what it is and move on. Point blank, period.
And that does touch on the importance of empathy. That a lot of times, again, if we're so inward looking, thinking it's all about me, and you forget the possibility that they could be dealing with some larger than life obstacle. And, you know, they have to work through it in their way and in their time. And don't judge, you know, because the very issue that you look at and you criticize might become your element a year from now. No one knows what's coming. But I think that energy that you said you give out earlier, where it doesn't matter if our working relationship had to come to a standstill, I still respect you are a human. You are a woman. And there's no reason for us to change that dynamic.
Yeah.
I think that's commendable.
Yeah. And it's funny because she had to ask me, it's like, I hope there's no ill feelings. I'm like, ill feelings for what? You got to do what's best for your business. I just got to do what's best for mine. That's it, point blank. And then I said, oh, shoot, we're still going to hang out. We're still going to chill. What?
You know, it also makes me think of, because you made the point earlier too, as you see these changes elsewhere, don't stay stagnant. Keep working on you. So that metamorphosis, you know, the transformation, this butterfly wasn't born that way. Little tiny chubby caterpillar that most people are disgusted by, but then it goes through a change. And when it comes out, the beauty, like everyone is so intrigued and blown away. And you question, how is it possible that this is the same thing that went in as that little worm? That's us, you know, wherever you stand now, it has nothing to do with where you're going to be tomorrow, next year, in a decade, as long as you keep transforming. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at NewYouWow. Until next time, stand tall in your power and remember, your belief in yourself is your superpower.